Every small town has its secrets, stories whispered when the wind blows through the trees at night. In Brookhaven, the oldest tale is of the Lantern Man. They say he appears only on the old forest road, a pale light bobbing through the mist. No one knows his face, no one knows where he comes from, but everyone who sees the lantern knows the danger. If you follow it, you may never return. Old Mrs. Langley remembers the first tales from her grandmother. She said the Lantern Man was a spirit that fed on the guilt and sins of the living. He doesn't harm the innocent, he only finds those who have wronged others, those who have hidden cruelty in their hearts. Travelers tell stories of seeing a soft, flickering light through the trees at midnight. Some are drawn to it, mesmerized by its glow. Others run screaming back to town, shaking, their eyes wide with terror. They whisper of seeing visions in the lantern's light, memories of pain they caused to others, long-forgotten secrets, and faces of those they had wronged. No one knows why the Lantern Man exists. Some say he was once human, wronged by someone he betrayed. Others say he is a punishment sent to remind people that darkness lives within their own hearts. Whatever the truth, one thing is certain. If the lantern's glow catches your eye, it will not let you go. And if you dare to follow, it will show you everything you've tried to hide and make you pay. That night, a young man named Daniel, curious and skeptical, walked toward the forest path where the Lantern Man was last seen. He laughed at the warnings, confident that the stories were just myths. But the mist thickened. The lantern appeared ahead, flickering like a heartbeat. And as Daniel stepped closer, he felt it, an icy pull, a weight pressing on his chest, and the sense that the light was not showing the way forward, but his own past. Daniel's curiosity quickly turned to unease. The lantern floated ahead, glowing softly through the thick fog. He tried to turn back, but his feet felt rooted to the ground, as if invisible hands held him in place. Then he saw it. Not just the light, but faces. Faces of people he had known, people he had wronged. A bully from school, a coworker he had humiliated, even a childhood friend he had betrayed. They weren't alive, they were shadows, twisted and angry, staring at him with hollow eyes. A whisper drifted through the trees. "You cannot run from what you have done." Daniel stumbled back, but the lantern floated closer, its glow revealing more. Every memory he had tried to forget, the cruel jokes, the lies, the betrayals, flashed before his eyes. Each one weighed him down, each one tugged at his soul. From behind him, a small group of teenagers appeared, daring each other to follow the lantern. They laughed nervously, unaware of the danger. Daniel tried to warn them, but his voice caught in his throat. One by one, they approached. The lantern's light touched their faces, and their laughter faded into terrified screams. Shadows reached from the mist, pulling them toward the lantern. They struggled, their eyes wide with fear, but the light held them fast. Daniel watched frozen as the first teenager vanished entirely, swallowed by the glowing mist. Then another, and another. By the time Daniel turned to run, the forest was silent again, too silent. The lantern floated alone, waiting for the next soul foolish enough to follow. He realized, with chilling clarity, that the Lantern Man does not hunt randomly. He chooses those whose hearts carry darkness, and anyone who follows the light must face their past sins or disappear forever.
Daniel's legs finally moved, stumbling deeper into the forest, but the lantern's glow never left him. It floated ahead like a heartbeat, drawing him further from safety. Then it began. The light shifted, flickering in unnatural ways. Faces, voices, and memories appeared within its glow. Daniel saw himself, years ago, mocking a classmate, laughing as he humiliated someone for his own amusement. Then another memory. A coworker he had sabotaged, whispered lies that cost her a promotion. And one more, darker still. A friend he had betrayed, leaving them exposed to danger, laughing it off as a joke. Each vision was sharper than the last, each more painful. Daniel's chest ached as guilt washed over him like a tidal wave. The lantern wasn't just light, it was judgment, forcing him to confront everything he had done, everything he had tried to hide. A shadow moved in the mist, taller than any man. Faceless beneath the hooded cloak, the lantern man watched silently. His light no longer guided, it revealed, exposing every secret sin. Daniel tried to turn away, to deny it, but the lantern's glow wrapped around him, showing what he feared most, the people he had wronged, their eyes full of accusation. Their faces blurred with anger and sorrow, voices whispering, "You cannot hide. You must pay." The forest seemed alive, trees shifting, branches reaching out like skeletal hands. The lantern floated closer, pulsing with eerie light. Daniel realized with horror that this was the price of his actions. The lantern man did not merely scare, he demanded reckoning. As the mist thickened, Daniel stumbled and fell to his knees. Shadows from the lantern danced across his skin, and he knew with bone-deep certainty that the path back home no longer existed. Only the reckoning awaited him. Kneeling in the damp forest, Daniel could feel the lantern's glow wrapping around him like icy fingers. Every step he had taken, every cruel word, every betrayal, it all weighed on him now. The lantern man didn't speak, but Daniel felt the judgment in the air, in the pulsing light, in the silence of the trees. Then a whisper, soft but cutting. "Face yourself, or vanish forever." Daniel looked up. The lantern floated just above the ground, hovering like a heartbeat of fire in the fog. He realized that he had a choice. He could follow it willingly, confront the sins it revealed, and perhaps survive, or resist, run, and risk being consumed entirely. Tears blurred his vision as memories slammed into him like physical blows. He saw the classmate he had tormented, the friend he had abandoned, the coworker he had betrayed. Each shadow stretched towards him, faces twisted in anger and sorrow. Daniel took a deep breath. He knew the lantern was showing him a path to redemption, but it demanded courage he'd never known. Every nerve in his body screamed to flee, yet the thought of vanishing, joining the others who had followed and never returned, terrified him more. With shaking hands, he reached toward the lantern. Its glow intensified, enveloping him in warmth and cold at the same time. And then the visions began to change. Not just past sins, but the consequences of them, the hurt he had caused,
the lives affected. The forest whispered, urging him to accept the truth, to acknowledge his guilt. Daniel whispered a single word. I am sorry." The lantern pulsed brighter, and for a moment the shadows seemed to retreat. The lantern man's presence loomed closer, faceless, but Daniel felt something shift. He understood. Acknowledgement was not forgiveness, but it was a beginning. The forest fell silent. The lantern hovered, waiting for the next soul, as Daniel stumbled forward, a heavy weight of guilt on his shoulders, but still alive. He had survived the night, but only because he had faced himself.
The first light of dawn crept over Brookhaven, brushing the edges of the forest with pale gold. Daniel stumbled out of the mist, shivering, his clothes damp and torn. The lantern's glow had faded, leaving only a faint warmth in the air, as if it had acknowledged his confession and released him, for now. He returned to the town shaken and silent, unable to speak of the horrors he had seen. The other teenagers, the ones who had followed the lantern before, were never found. Daniel understood that the lantern man did not kill randomly. He punished only those who carried guilt too heavy to ignore. Days passed, and the forest seemed peaceful again. Yet at night, villagers sometimes spotted a faint flickering light along the old road, bobbing gently between the trees. Children dared each other to follow it, but none ever approached. Daniel could never forget the experience. The visions haunted his dreams, forcing him to confront the choices he had made. He learned that the Lantern Man was not evil in the ordinary sense. It was a force of reckoning, a spectral judge of conscience. And somewhere, deep in the misty forest, the lantern waits. Its glow invites the next traveler, the next sinner to follow. Those who are ready to face themselves may survive. Those who resist may vanish forever, leaving only whispers and flickering light behind. The Lantern Man walked still, carrying the glow of judgment. And the lesson is clear. Your past sins will always find you, and some lights you should never follow.